It's Dal Houston here with Dal Houston Exchange Companies. I want to thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. I hope you find the content helpful if you're doing a 1031 exchange. If we can be a service to you, please don't hesitate to contact. But regardless, we hope that you find the content useful. What I want to talk about today is the 180-day time period in which you must complete your 1031 exchange. The first thing I want to talk about, and I don't mean to digress, is the begin date of when that 180-day period. And if you watched any of my videos, you'll probably know this because I reiterated it, but it is probably if it's not the most asked question, it is second most asked question on a 1031. And it's this, is when does that 180-day period begin to run? In a 1031 exchange and a real estate transaction, it's really important to distinguish between what the contract date is. That is the date that the buyer and sell the contract to sell the particular real estate. So if it's April 1st, it's important to understand that you technically haven't bought the real estate on that date. Rather, what the parties have done is sign a pending agreement that says, it is our agreement to buy and to sell this real estate. Most contracts, and it varies from state to state, even locale to locale, that they will encompass a close date. And it says so if the contract was signed on April 1st, it might say this property will close on or before June 15th of the same year, okay? It is that close date that puts everything into motion. It puts the 45-day period into motion, and it puts the 180-day into motion. And both of those time periods run from that very same time. So if it closes on June 1st, and just for those people who aren't particularly well versed in real estate transactions, the close date is primarily where the closing agent gets the deed conveying the property from the seller to the buyer, and they get the money from the buyer to the seller, okay? So again, we sign a contract perhaps on April 1st. It's got a close date of June 15th, and it closes on time of June 15th. That June 15th is the close date. Now, you then have 180 days from that day in which you have to get the replacement property purchased and closed, okay? There are no extensions to this except one, and that is if the property is and this is very clear, a presidentially declared disaster zone. Very important. There may be catastrophic issues, there may be title issues, there may be a lot of other issues of coming into play why that property cannot close within the 180-day period. None of them matter. So even if I close on day 181, you're out of luck. It's just closed. I mean, it's got to be closed within that 180-day period. I raise this only as a potential, and that is, as an attorney, law holds that a real estate transaction closes and title moves from a seller to a buyer when that deed is transferred or delivered to the buyer. So theoretically, the transaction could close on the day 180, but the deed be recorded at the courthouse the following day on day 181 day on one day, tongue tied here, I'm sorry, on a day 181. technically that should not invalidate that. And occasionally, and I've done this for 25 years, there's been probably 3 instances that I can remember during that time where we just didn't have time and the deed was delivered the following day. I wouldn't suggest relying on that. Obviously, it is much clearer and cleaner and much easier to explain and report if it shows that that deed was recorded within that day, that 180-day window. So I hope you find this helpful. Be glad to visit with you if you have any questions regarding this issue or any other issue regarding 1031s. You can check out our website, bensonandhouston.com, and there will be a link to that, or you can call us at 580-327-1197. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find this useful.